Hello and welcome back. We now have our second keynote of the day with Henri, CEO and co-founder of Streamr. You have probably seen him before in our last edition because he participated there as well. It's good to have you again here, Henri. The stage is yours.
To be here. Thanks a lot, Victoria. All right, so hi everyone. Thanks for joining this session. I'm Henri, co-founder and CEO of Streamr. So this attempts to be more of a show, don't tell talk, where I walk you through some interesting and concrete use cases that we're seeing in the kind of intersection of real-time data, Web3, and crypto, as that intersection is our home turf, right, as a project and protocol. So I came across this tweet the other day, and I thought it was a pretty good conversation starter. In Web 1, the companies created the content and earned the money. In Web 2, we create the content, but the companies earn the money. And in Web 3, we create the content and we earn the money. I think this captures pretty well one aspect of how Web 3 might enable the birth of new data economies. However, I think this view is somewhat narrow, right? We should be talking about not just people, but also devices and AIs. Obviously, not just the web, but all services on the internet, and not just applications, but of course, the underlying infrastructure as well. So here's a few thoughts to illustrate what I mean. I think to move beyond Web 2, we need infrastructure beyond cloud. You know, it's not great that half the internet goes dark when someone trips over a wire in an Amazon data center, which just happened like a week ago. We need business models beyond ads. Advertising has been the dominant online native business model for 20 years. But is this really the only paradigm out there, right? We need scalability beyond people. There's already an order of magnitude more devices online than people, and this gap will only grow faster in the future. And finally, we need guarantees beyond GDPR and other regulation. You know, verify, don't trust, right? Radical transparency. The blockchain space has a lot to teach us, and cryptography and math, they eat trust for breakfast, right? So to understand the use cases I'm about to show, let's first take a look at how real-time data pipelines in Web 2 actually work. So basically, all stakeholders in a data pipeline, they connect to a centralized service that brokers the data. The data source or publisher sends a new data point to the server, and the central server delivers the data to subscribers, right? This is how WhatsApp works, how this video stream works, how stock exchanges and centralized crypto exchanges work, how IoT systems and smart traffic work, etc., etc. All data goes through a central choke point, which makes these systems vulnerable and grants the infrastructure providers kind of unsafe amounts of power. All data flows through them, and that's not great for the internet and its users. So what we try to do with the Streamr protocol is to decentralize exactly that. So it allows publishers and subscribers to form peer-to-peer networks where basically everyone acts as a broker, enabling data to be distributed, broadcasted, exchanged, and even monetized at scale without any central party or service. All right, so in a Web3 stack, many decentralized protocols work together around data. For example, blockchains, decentralized file storage, real-time data, of course, computation, identity, and so on, to power applications that can avoid the pitfalls of Web 2 while also enabling new business models and allowing self-sovereign control over one's data. Just like we control all our other digital assets in Web 3 using private keys and wallets, right? All right, so that's the brief theory part. and where this stuff fits in. So now on to some interesting use cases. Yep. OK. Slide wasn't changing, but now I think it changed. All right. So let's start with something easy to understand. This is the chat.eth. It's an instant messenger that uses Ethereum wallets for identity and the Streamr network for message transport. And this is coming soon. It's something that a few guys in our ecosystem are working on at the moment. So in Web 2, you have, Facebook or WhatsApp, which is really just Facebook, or Instagram, which is really just Facebook, all of which collect as much data about you onto their servers as they possibly can. But here there is no server, right? Boom, you're chatting over a peer-to-peer network, and your browser becomes a Streamr node and lets the chat app send and receive data in the different chat rooms. So no one can deny you access to this application, eavesdrop on your messages, or prevent you from communicating. In Web 2 chats, all kind of fraud and impersonation runs wild. But here, our identity is our wallet. So you can verify you're chatting with, say, the owner of a certain NFT or ENS name, a team member of a certain crypto project, or say even the hacker that stole 100 million in the latest DeFi exploit, right? Add smart contract costs to the mix, and you can transfer and swap assets with people you're chatting with, and so on. I think instant messaging in Web3 should be something like this. It's a fine example of that infrastructure beyond cloud bullet point that I called for before. I also called for business models beyond advertising for Web3. So here's a project called SWASH. They allow you to monetize your web browsing behavior. They use the Streamr network for data transport, as well as our data unions framework for sharing revenue with their users at scale, right? So it's basically a browser plugin that collects data anonymously, and you can control and inspect what gets collected. It's fully transparent, and they plan to run it like a DAO. Using our data unions framework, it pays users 70% of any profits from selling data to buyers, like market research, competitor analysis, that kind of thing. And they have over 200,000 downloads so far, and these guys just raised 20 million for the project, so it's definitely getting pretty serious. Referring back to the tweet I showed in the beginning, in Web3, people create data, people earn the money. And that's exactly what happens here. I also spoke about going beyond people. Here's Demo, a team that's doing something a bit similar to SWASH, but for cars, raised 4 million so far. They have a hardware device you can plug into your electric vehicle that shares data about the car in real time over the Streamr network. That data can be used to detect traffic, alert about accidents nearby, or weather conditions like slippery roads, state of charging stations, animals crossing the street, and whatnot. The data can also be monetized by selling it, for example, to car manufacturers who are interested in battery degradation, or insurance companies interested in driving behavior. Again, the revenue is shared with the users, right? Crypto gaming people are talking about play to earn. So here we're talking about drive to earn. With SWASH, it's surf to earn, and so on. Pretty big ideas, I think. And as everything's based on open protocols, you also get full composability on the data side of things. So, you could use the chat app I showed to chat with your car, to approve a charging expense, or tell the car where to meet you as it returns from its self-driving missions. In Web3, there are no silos. Individual apps are just interfaces to the same underlying data fabric created by underlying protocols. Okay, again, bit of delay here. All right, and this is Onbanks. It allows you to share and monetize your bank transaction data. In Europe, banks are now required to provide APIs that allow people to download their financial data from the bank systems. Onbanks leverages that and allows people to easily liberate that data for other uses, such as selling it anonymously. So one takeaway from this is that regulation can enable bridges between Web 2 and Web 3. Unless forced to open up, Web 2 companies would rather keep the data in silos, of course. The banking regulation is more successful than GDPR in this sense, as GDPR doesn't actually require companies to offer API access to data. You do have the right to request your data from a company, but the company can, print it out and fax it to you or something. And that's not quite what we need. But overall, the EU is actually quite active in promoting the decentralization of data. I think the reason is this. The US and China, they totally won the Web 2 infrastructure game, and Web 3 is a new opportunity for Europe. Plus, the ideologies of decentralization and openness of Web 3 fit very well with the European values. As one example, I'm showing here Kraken, a EU-funded Horizon 2020 project to build a data marketplace for medical and wellness data. Data that's highly personal and highly sensitive. The work is being done in a consortium led by Atos, and it's being built on top of a fork of the Streamr data marketplace, where they add a secure multi-party computation element to allow computations on the data without exposing its contents. And not everything is quite so serious. Yes, somebody also made an NFT with a deep fake Elon Musk reacting to Dogecoin price changes in real time. But yeah, with the web resources on IPFS, price data coming from the Streamr network, and the token itself on chain, this kind of data-driven NFTs can be completely decentralized. So other real-time interactive art could have, for example, presence features, like, the piece could change with people coming and going, or with how many people are looking at it, and stuff like that. So really cool stuff. So just to finish with a few summarizing thoughts. First of all, the protocols needed for data-driven decentralized apps, they pretty much exist now. So yeah, it's time to start using them, right? We're also seeing these new business models emerging, which enable people to own and control the data they share. And these fairer business models that compensate users for data and content, they will compete with and eventually replace the Web 2 models. That's very clear. And for sure, experimenting with these new technologies is key to discovering new paradigms and pushing the existing boundaries. Thanks a lot for joining. This is the end of the talk. I hope this inspired some of you to discover more use cases and learn about real-time data for Web3 in general. You can visit our project website, streamr.network, and join our Discord, as well as follow us on Twitter. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to me either on the Discord or by emailing Henri@streamr.network. And I wish everyone a great rest of the conference.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Henri. Very interesting keynote, and thank you for being an important person in this whole revolution of Web3. And congratulations. See you around, Henri.
Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you so much. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.